fear of missing out? Want to keep up with all the latest entertainment news and latest celebrity gossip? From the latest rumors to popping events to the newest fashion trends, here is where you get all the tea or juice when it comes to entertainment, and you get it served on time. All that and so much more on Grapevine every single Monday only on KBC Channel 1. Remember, if you did not see it on Grapevine, then it most probably never happened.
Habari muhimu ni zile zinazoathiri maisha yako, na zinapojiri tuko hapo.
Tunakuletea habari zinazojiri nchini na kimataifa.
Hakuna kabila ambayo iko hapa Kenya kwa mwaliko ya mwingine.
Mambo ya matibabu isiwe starehe ya watu wadosi.
Tunakufahamisha kila wakati ili uwe tayari kwa yajayo.
We will also be designating the cartels as foreign terrorist organizations.
Katika ulimwengu unaosonga kwa kasi, usahihi wa habari ni muhimu.
The only thing that has changed, Senator Khalwale, is that you are defending the indefensible. If you allow me as a bullfighter, I'll fix him here and now, and it will be sorted out.
You were doing very well until you brought out your character of bullfighting.
Tunakupa habari sahihi na zisizoegemea upande wowote.
Pindi tu walioteuliwa wataidhinishwa na bunge la kitaifa.
Na ni hapa ndipo
Darubini,
kila siku ya Jumatatu na Jumanne
saa 1 jioni.
It's the first Monday of 2026. Happy New Year, wherever you're watching. Tonight on Prime Edition, big stories, breaking developments, and much more. But first, the highlights. The government cautions against shortcuts as investigations into the South Sea building tragedy continue.
Our challenges are self-inflicted. We must come as a party and look inwardly and solve our issues internally and stop blaming other people.
The ODM fallout. Party bigwigs call for a truce amid the ongoing bickering over who to blame for the 2022 election defeat. Keeping the mosquitoes out. Cambridge's breakthrough research on how families can fight malaria on a budget. Good evening and a very warm welcome to the broadcast. I am Muchuma Odim. My colleague Tomboya will be with us next week. Our sign language expert tonight is Lucy Mwaura. Talk to us on all our social media platforms at KBC Channel 1. On to our lead story. Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development Cabinet Secretary Alice Wahome has warned of tough legal actions against anyone who will be found culpable in the collapse of the South Sea multi-story building that has so far claimed one life. Wahome, who visited the site for the first time on Monday, said the architects and engineers risk losing their licenses if investigations establish criminal responsibility. The recovery exercise in search of a second person at the site is expected to conclude on Tuesday.
Excavation and rescue operations entered day 4 on Monday at the site of the collapsed 16-story building in South Sea, Nairobi, in search of a second person believed to have been trapped in the rubble. Cabinet Secretary in charge of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development Alice Wahome warns of legal action against the developer, architect, engineers, county and national government officials should criminal culpability be established.
What will you do if a contractor or a developer is not complying? Of course, he should be prosecuted. I will deregister if I'm told that the contractor was the problem. I will deregister the contractor.
Wahome revealed that the multi-agency teams with relevant expertise are carrying out investigations to establish the root cause of the tragic occurrence on Friday last week.
I will suspend the license of the architect if I find through the report that he went 3 other floors or 1 extra floor without approval by NCA. I'm going to deregister them.
While disclosing the names behind the construction, she however said the developer, named as Abian Consulting Limited, has not been invited to record a statement.
I don't want to preempt because I have technical teams that will tell me whether the developer should actually do a statement. You know, we don't want to preempt. You want a thorough job.
However, as of 2024, the CA said 4 inspections done by the National Construction Authority had given the green light to the project. That was registered on 8 November 2023, having met all statutory requirements. At the time of the incident, the project was however non-compliant, as 4 more floor levels had been added to the approved designs. The excavation and search operations are expected to end on Tuesday. This as the National Construction Authority issued stoppage orders for 2 construction works in Seme, Kisumu County for lack of requisite documentation.
Some of the developers do not even know that they need to hire a professional to do their work, because assuming they had hired at least 1 professional, he or she would tell them that they need the other professionals along, and they would also inform them about the processes they have to go through in order to be able to be allowed to construct.
Giverson Minor, Prime Edition.
Our apologies, our sign language expert tonight is Susan Thuku and not Lucy Mwaura, as earlier mentioned. Let's now switch to politics. A section of Odim bigwigs want interim party leader Senator Oburu Oginga to convene the party's organs and quell the rising political intolerance in the party. Led by 2 national vice chairpersons, Otiende Amolo and John Ariko, the leaders warned that failure to urgently deal with the internal wrangles may erode the public confidence in the party and reduce its popularity going to the 2027 general elections. Gishuki Washira compiled these reports.
For the last few weeks, ODM's key national officials have been at loggerheads over who has the best interest of the party at heart, often engaging in public verbal slurs, a situation that has drawn the attention of 2 national vice chairpersons, John Ariko and Otiende Amolo, as well as the National Assembly Minority Whip Millie Odhiambo, who now want the interim party leader Senator Oburu Oginga to move with speed and quell the rising temperatures.
We are further concerned by the spectacle of self-cannibalization that has been exhibited of late in our party. It is testament to how much we miss the wisdom and iconic leadership of our departed leader, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, that divisive rhetoric has taken over our politics without restraint. We call upon the party's elected leadership and the wider membership to uphold the tenets of unity and camaraderie espoused by the late Raila Odinga.
We have convened ourselves as concerned members of Parliament from ODM, and if you can judge us from where we are coming from whatever is coming out, you'll agree with us that we have not taken any side.
The ODM bigwigs concerned with the effect of the ongoing mudslinging, one that failure to address the issues with urgency will allow small parties to occupy political spaces previously occupied by ODM. They are confident, however, the internal wrangles can be solved internally without involving the National Delegates Conference.
Our challenges are self-inflicted. We must come as a party and look inwardly and solve our issues internally and stop blaming other people. We are the ones inflicting harm upon ourselves. We are creating a lot of confusion with our membership.
ODM Secretary General Edwin Sifuna and the leader of Minority Party in the National Assembly, Junet Mohamed, have been engaged in counter-accusations over the party's management of resources for the last general elections, a subject the Otiende-led caucus refused to comment on.
What's going on is the democracy in the D in ODM. ODM stands for the Orange Democratic Movement Party of Kenya. But two, that there are mechanisms that are in place, and as much as we are having this press statement, we're also in conversation with our party leader along the same lines. There's no disconnect.
The MPs have also noted the allegation of an altercation between Kileleshwa MCA Robert Alai and Embakasi East MP Babu Owino and urged the police to investigate the matter with urgency. Gisho Kiwashira, Prime Edition.
9 people, including 2 children, were killed in a grisly road accident along the Nairobi-Naivasha highway. A Nissan Matatu collided head-on with a Green Line bus that was headed to Nairobi from the western region. Maria Mo has the details.
Twisted metal, shattered glass. The mangled wreckage tells the story of a violent head-on collision after a Nissan Matatu rammed into this bus belonging to the Green Light Bus Company that was traveling to Nairobi from Western Kenya. All 9 lives aboard the Nissan Matatu were cut short on the spot, among them 2 children. Passengers in the bus said the driver was speeding and overtaking a fleet of vehicles when it rammed into the oncoming Nissan.
So wakati tumefika kwa hii mafuta tumepata kuna premium imetokea hapo, ikaingia tu kwa barabara na ikaslow, na sisi gari ilikuwa ina high speed, so there's no way angeshika emergency. So wakati amejaribu kuihepa ndio tukapatana na Nissan head-on collision.
Alikuwa anakuja akikimbisha gari na speed, tunajaribu kumwambia punguza speed, tuko na watoto na tuko na watu wengi, hataki kusikia.
Survivors said the tragedy could have been avoided as the driver appeared exhausted, having driven long distances without rest.
So wakati amefika Nakuru, hizi mataa za gari zingine zikaanza kumlemea, so anafika mahali ana slow. So nikafika mahali nikaita conductor nikamwambia, you need to talk with your driver kwa sababu it is like ako dizzy.
They are accusing transport operators of prioritizing profit over passenger safety.
Kwa kampuni ya Green Line, kama gari lazima ikuwe na return, at least wakuwe 2 drivers.
Police have since described the Karai area along the Nairobi-Naivasha road as a non-black spot, urging motorists to be vigilant.
I am advising motorists to plan their travel on time so that they are not moving on an hurry. So for them to be safe from where they are starting and where they are ending to.
The 1 a.m. incident that occurred near Kayole Estate, 10 kilometers from Naivasha town, also left several other people injured, most of whom were treated at the Naivasha Sub-County Hospital and later discharged.
Nimeumia kifua kidogo, nimeumia magoti, but glasses zimenikata kidogo kidogo.
As families mourn their loved ones, fresh questions are being raised about driver fatigue, enforcement of safety rules, and accountability on Kenyan roads. Maria Ambo reporting for the Prime Edition.
Let's now switch to Health Watch, onto a story we highlighted for you at the beginning of the broadcast. Scientists from the Kenya Medical Research Institute, KEMRI, have unveiled a major public health and climate adaptation breakthrough demonstrating that simple, low-cost housing modifications can significantly cool homes and keep out malaria-carrying mosquitoes, offering a scalable solution for millions of households across malaria-endemic Africa. According to the findings, electricity-free housing improvements reduced indoor heat by up to 3.3 degrees Celsius and cut malaria mosquito populations by as much as 77% in rural Western Kenya. Here is that report.
For decades, malaria control has relied heavily on bed nets and indoor spraying, promoted in Kenya under the slogan "Sisi ndani, mbu nje." While effective during sleeping, these tools do not prevent mosquitoes from entering houses or address growing heat stress driven by climate change. In sub-Saharan Africa, 95% of deaths globally are attributed to malaria. To curb the rising cases and deaths, researchers from KEMRI conducted a pilot randomized controlled study involving 40 households in Siaya County, testing 4 housing approaches: reflective cool roofs, which reduce daytime indoor heat by 3.3 degrees Celsius and nighttime temperatures by 2.4 degrees Celsius, locally made mat ceilings, which provided moderate cooling, cross-ventilation improvements, which showed limited impact, and unmodified control houses. All intervention homes were fully screened at doors, windows, and eaves to block mosquito entry. House screening reduced female Anopheles funestus mosquitoes, the primary malaria vectors, by 77%, alongside a 58% reduction in Culex mosquitoes. KEMRI has called for urgent multisectoral action to translate the findings into widespread impact, urging national and county governments to integrate cool roof and screen standards into building codes, malaria strategic plans, and climate adaptation policies beginning in high-burden regions. Kasi Chanamasha, Prime Edition.
A 44-year-old man who was abducted by armed men in Mombasa has been reunited with his family after 9 days in captivity. Harrison Nyamu, who was abducted on Christmas Eve in his Changamwe home, spent Christmas and New Year in captivity, recounting torture and medical neglect before being released on January 2nd in the Vipingo area, Cliffy County. Human rights defenders have since condemned the act, even as they call for investigations to bring those culpable to book. Here is that report as compiled by Yusuf Farah.
A visibly distraught Harrison Nyamu is lucky to be home after spending the festive season in confinement. The dialysis patient recounts being picked up from his home on the eve of Christmas by armed men before being ferried to an unknown location where he went through hardship and torture.
Watu walikuja wamevaa ninja, wakaniambia kichwa chini na familia yangu wote, tukarazwa, tuliporazwa, mimi niliweza kuwekwa pingu na kuteremshwa mpaka chini kwa kali na kushikwa na kufungwa macho, penye nilipelekwa sikujua na nimepitia masaibu ya kutosha, na singetaka mwingine apitie masaibu kama hayo. Siwezi omba mwingine apitie masaibu kama hayo nilipitia, kwa sababu nilipitia masaibu.
His wife, Leon Jerry, who tried to follow the young men and got her own share of beatings, now thankful that the family's breadwinner is back home after they spent the festive season worried about his whereabouts and whether he would make it back home in one piece.
Nilishikwa na watu walikuwa wamejiami na mabunduki, nikaenda nikapiga ripoti na nikawa niko na watu wananisaidia kufuatilia hiyo maneno, na ikiwa tarehe 2 Januari, nashukuru Mungu mzee wangu amerudi akiwa mzima, hata kama amesema amepitia masaibu, nashukuru Mungu kumuona amerudi akiwa mzima. Hiyo ndio ilikuwa inataka matumaini yangu, arudi nimuone akiwa mzima na watoto pia.
Human rights activists condemned the incident, alleging the presence of illegal abduction squads, while calling on the relevant authorities to hasten investigations and bring the culprits to book.
Tafadhalini, fuateni sheria ili shida kama hizi zisiweze kutokea.
na tunataka wale wote waliohusika waweze kujulikana, ili mambo kama haya ya kuweza kuumiza mtu ambaye ni mgonjwa tayari anahitaji matibabu yasiweze kutendeka.
Haki za kibinadamu za msingi za watu ambao wameshikwa zinafaa zizingatiwe. Endapo mtu yeyote amefanya makosa, serikali ina haki ya kumshika na kufuata kanuni za nchi na kumhoji.
Isufar reporting for Prime Edition.
Glad you're watching Prime Edition. We are taking our first commercial break. We'll be back with much more, with the detail and clarity you deserve. Stay with us.
Usilie ewe mwanadamu, usihadaike. Mtu akitoa chafya akasema alhamdulillah, basi Mtume anafundisha, wewe umemsikia, unamwambia ya rahmakallah, na yeye anajibu ya hadiyakallahu wa yuslihu balaka. Haya ni mafundisho ya Bwana Mtume sallallahu alayhi wasallam.
Hapo ndio tunapata funzo kwamba kiongozi hapaswi kupuuza rai za watu wake.
Lea Premium Flour, nurturing the world. Available in a store near you.
Welcome back. Our socials at KBC Channel 1 on X, Facebook and YouTube. Let's now take you to the courts. A Nairobi court has granted a bond to a man accused of spreading false information about President William Ruto online. Harrison Nyende Mumia is facing multiple counts under the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. Our reporter has more details.
Harrison Nyende Mumia was on Monday arraigned before the Milimani Law Courts, where he denied several counts of false publication under the Computer Misuse and Cybercrime Acts of 2018.
Then I will further rely on the cases of Michael Rono versus Republic.
The prosecution told the court that on December 30th, 2025, the accused used Facebook and Instagram accounts to publish false images of President William Ruto, portraying the head of state as critically ill and in some instances deceased. Prosecutors argued that the post amounted to deliberate misinformation capable of causing public concern.
You know, the charges that the accused person is facing discloses known offences in law. A plea taking is not trial on merits, and no prejudice has been shown to have been occasioned to the accused person. In any case, this court has power to allow for amendments in case the charge sheet is effective, and we are opposed to release on a free bond, Your Honor.
In mitigation, the defense asked the court to grant lenient cash bail, submitting that bail is meant to guarantee the accused person's attendance in court and not to punish them. The defense maintained that the accused was cooperative and posed no risk of absconding.
And not to punish an accused person whose presumption of innocence until proven guilty stands firmly.
While the prosecution opposed a free bond, it acknowledged that no prejudice had been demonstrated should the accused be released on bail. In her ruling, Presiding Chief Magistrate Dolphina Alego ordered that the accused be released on a bond of 1 million Kenya shillings or an alternative cash bail of 500,000 Kenya shillings with 2 contact persons. The court set January 19th as the pre-trial date.
A bond of 1 million plus 1 contact person
and then a cash bail or a cash bail of $500,000 plus 2 contact persons. Your passport will be deposited to the court. A pre-trial on the 19th day of January 2026.
The accused was released pending trial, having denied all the charges. Letua Debra for Prime Edition.
Let's stay with the courts. The abducted Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Lady Celia Flores, are due to make their first appearance in court in New York City, United States, anytime from now, facing charges of narco-terrorism, cocaine importation, and machine gun possession. This as the Vice President Delcy Rodriguez takes the oath of office as the acting president and calling for a dialogue with the United States President. Donald Trump has maintained that the U.S. is in control of Venezuela.
Tension is still high in Venezuela almost 3 days after President Nicolas Maduro was abducted in a fierce military operation on Saturday. With Maduro and his wife, Lady Celia Flores, appearing in court for the first time to face charges of narco-terrorism, cocaine importation and machine gun possession, the U.S. President Donald Trump says his administration will work with the remaining members of Maduro regime to clamp down on drug traffickers and overhaul the country's oil sector. Speaking aboard Air Force One, the United States President threatened another action in the country if the regime does not toe the line. The operation attracted condemnation from across the world, with the U.S. being accused of seeking to control Venezuela's vast oil reserves. Vice President Delcy Rodriguez, who has been sworn in as the acting president of Venezuela, is however calling for a dialogue with the United States, saying there is need for a balanced and respectful relations with Washington during power transition. Meanwhile, the United Nations Security Council has held an emergency meeting to discuss the situation. Tilio Marco for Prime Edition.
Let's now take you to the counties. A group of teachers from the Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers, KUPPET, in Embu County is accusing the union's leadership of financial mismanagement and poor representation. Elsewhere, the Kajiado County government has honored 3 legendary Ma elders, Francis Olelegis, Chief Lenku Olempa, and Lesinko Olenkaitole, for their historic role in wildlife conservation and in advocating for the handover of Amboseli National Park to local communities. These and more stories are in the County News Roundup.
Solidarity forever.
Kenya Union of Post-Primary Education Teachers in Embu County criticized the lack of transparency and addressed issues like Burial Benevolent Fund and the absence of AGMs for 3 years.
KUPPET receives more than 800,000 Kenya shillings for BBF. That one is money for welfare. And that is money for welfare per month. And it has not been accounted for since 2021.
The group called for accountability and leadership changes ahead of the February 7 election. Elsewhere, the Kajiado County government has honored 3 legendary Ma elders, Francis Olelegis, Chief Lenku Olempa, and Lesinko Olenkaitole. The elders, now deceased, are credited with petitioning the national government to allow local communities to manage Amboseli, citing conservation, community rights, and sustainable coexistence with wildlife. Their long-standing efforts bore fruit 2 months ago when President William Ruto officially transferred the management of Amboseli National Park to Kajiado County under a 50-50 revenue sharing agreement with the Kenya Wildlife Service.
Tunasherehekea mashujaa hao ambaye Mheshimiwa Rais William Ruto amewatambua as national heroes na kawapatia Elder Obanning Spear honors as national heroes kwa sababu ya hiyo malalamishi yao na kusimama wao kutetea haki kwa niaba ya Wakenya na watu wa Kajiado.
And in Bungoma County, a section of grade 10 parents is seeking an extension of the reporting period to enable them to prepare adequately.
Ingekuwa vizuri kwa sababu kuna wazazi wale ambao maybe hawajiwezea watoto wao waende kama Mombasa na watapatikana hii Bungoma. Ingekuwa vizuri wangewabadilishia ili watu waweze kuenda kwa shule zenye ziko karibu zenye wazazi labda wangeweza kulipa.
Finally, gender-based violence survivors in Mandera County have received a major boost following the opening of a new Hope shelter by the county government. The facility, also referred to as the Gender Recovery Center, is designed to provide immediate safety, protection, and comprehensive support services to survivors and escaping abuse environments.
The services are free of charge for the survivors of violence, and nobody should fear to come to seek service in this facility at any given time. It's a 24-hour service across.
Case Kimirei, Prime Edition.
Na ni nini mnapima hapa? Gazebo itakuwa pale, si ndio? Tokeni hapa.
Tangu asubuhi mfanya kazi gani? Tuko comedy, si ndio?
Mbona unanifuata? Nani alikwambia niko na haraka ya kutoka kwa hii dunia? Nimejaribu kukusaidia, lakini bado unajifanya kichwa ngumu. You will regret it. Hautanipenda?
And the next time unajaribu kuniletea hii upuzi ama utry kuniharas, nitakusema kwa chini.
Yeah, I don't care.
Manzi maskini ni ukaa utumwa. Walai bro, ningekaa another minute bila ukula, ninge collapse walai. Hiyo ofa ya baba jina ni tempting sana.
Mtu anaweza jipata tu amekubali.
Mimi ni kama babako.
Si wote tunajua unipendi.
Kumbuka ni 50k, eh?
Thank you for staying with us. In business, Kenya has formally exited the commercial sugar safeguard regime after 24 years. The safeguard, which lapsed on 30th November, was a temporary reform-driven measure designed to stabilize and restructure the sugar subsector, objectives that the government says have now been fully achieved.
The move by Kenya to exit the commercial safeguard regime marks a major policy shift for the country's sugar industry, which for over 2 decades operated under special trade protections within the commercial free trade area. Kenya initially saw the safeguard in 2001 at the launch of the commercial free trade area, at a time when the local sugar subsector was characterized by low productivity, high production costs, and heavy reliance on government support. Over the years, the safeguard allowed Kenya to restrict sugar imports through tariff rate quotas while implementing reforms aimed at restoring viability. The commercial safeguards were extended 8 times, each extension subject to performance reviews and progress reports. Kenya Sugar Board Chief Executive Officer Jude Chesire says the expiry of the commercial safeguard signals that the sugar subsector has reached a level of stability and preparedness to compete in a liberalized regional market. Sugar production has risen by more than 70% from 2022 levels, supported by favorable rainfall, improved access to certified seed cane, targeted fertilizer subsidy programs, and improved milling efficiencies. The Kenya Sugar Board says Kenya will continue to supplement local sugar production deficit with controlled imports from both commercial and approved non-commercial sources as milling rehabilitations continue. The government says that this framework will provide investors with the certainty needed to commit capital and ensure continued regulatory oversight and farmer protection. Trevor Ngendo for Prime Edition.
Across the borders in the world of business, precious metal prices have risen after the U.S. captured Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro, which has increased investors' concerns about geopolitical risks. Gold is about 2.2% higher at $4,424 an ounce, while the price of silver is up 3.9% as money was moved into so-called safe haven assets. Details of this and others in our international business roundup.
Both gold and silver hit record highs in 2025 before losing ground in the last few days of the year. Gold still saw its best annual performance since 1979 after rising by more than 60%, reaching an all-time high of $4,549.71 on the 26th of December. Those gains were driven by several factors, including expectations of more interest rate cuts, major purchases of bullion by central banks, and investor concerns about global tension and economic uncertainty. Crude oil fluctuated in early trade before slipping back as investors weighed by whether Washington's intervention in Venezuela would affect crude supplies. Brent crude was down 0.8% to $60.26 a barrel. U.S. President Donald Trump has vowed to tap into Venezuela's vast oil reserves after seizing Maduro and said that the U.S. will run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper and judicial transition. Meanwhile, Samsung Electronics plans to double the number of its mobile devices with Galaxy AI features, largely powered by Google's Gemini, which would give the U.S. firm an edge over rivals as the global race in artificial intelligence heats up. The South Korean company, which had rolled out Gemini-backed AI features to about 400 million mobile products, including smartphones and tablets, by last year, plans to boost that figure to 800 million this year. Finally, Indigo and Air India have ordered nearly 1,500 planes over the next decade, highlighting soaring passenger demand. The expansion hinges on Boeing and Airbus, which together supply 86% of the world's aircraft and faced historically high delivery backlogs in 2024, delays expected to affect Indigo orders too. The prospect drew attention in October when India and Russia signed an initial agreement in Moscow to manufacture the SJ-100 passenger plane in India, raising hopes for domestic aircraft production.
Glad you're watching Prime Edition. We are taking our second commercial break. When we return, Daniel Okome will be bringing you the sports. Stay with us.
Let me remind you that she is in love with you. And it seems that you get a real kick out of playing along. Let me tell you that you're not only disrespecting me, but your daughter Nora as well.
Who is she?
Well, she's no other than the mother of your sister's best friend. Don't you find it strange?
I find it so disgusting.
Look, I have no idea what your mother told you, but that would be the last time you'll talk to me that way.
I don't want to hear any of your explanations.
In case you forgot, you're not his favorite daughter.
I know there was a time that Ligia was involved with a married man.
And what's the name of that man?
Amador Zúñiga.
Very good evening to you. My name is Daniel Wahome. Welcome to Prime Edition Sport. Defending champions Kenya Police FC are focused on collecting maximum points against KCB in their next FKF Premier League match to rejoin the title contenders of the season. Police are down to 6th on the table, but just 2 points behind joint leaders Kakamega Homeboys and AFC Leopards.
Kenya Police FC are focused on returning to the top of the FKF Premier League table before the second leg of the season and must start with winning their next match against KCB. Despite only losing 6 of the 13 matches they've played so far and conceding just 9 goals in the process, Police have moved to strengthen their squad by signing 3 new players. Police have secured the services of Burkina Faso international Kotima Yves Jr., who was an integral part of the national team at the African Nation Championship. Malonga Briok Hannes and defender Bowamba Jackies from Congo.
Hatukija Police FC na usaini miaka 5, miaka 10 na iwe kuwa timu nyingine nzuri inakutaka. Si tuko radhi kukuachilia ili uendeleze maisha yako ya mpira. Sisi ile timu tunakuamia mchezo kwamba umetia mkataba mrefu, hapana. Tunataka tukuze vipaji kutoka hapa Police FC na tuwafungulie milango mingine mikubwa zaidi.
Strikers in Africa are hard to find. The ones who are Kenyans are playing out there. They are playing their trade outside this country. So we don't have good finishers. That's why we have to scout from outside. So we have an issue with striking, and also we have some difficulties at the back to contain our enemies. So right now we are rebuffing those areas, and then we will be raring to go.
Always it is good for the coach that have deep squad, but it is not just having big squad. It is about having great human beings, and if we are doing that and we have great human beings, we are happy that we can manage the things.
The signings come with Police having struggled to find goals in the top flight this season, scoring just 11 times in 13 matches, with the teams lower than them on the table including Nairobi United, Murang'a Seal, Ulinzi Stars and APS Bomet having scored more goals.
Nakwana Queens successfully retained their HK Muchuma football title after beating Malaha Starlets in the women's final played in Webuye West. City Young failed to defend the men's title after going down to newly crowned champions City Harvest FC in the men's final.
City Harvest FC and Nakwana Queens are the champions of the third HK Muchuma football tournament after the two won their respective men and women finals played at the Kalala Primary School grounds in City Webuye West. Nakwana Queens retained their title with a narrow 1-0 win over Malaha Starlets in an evenly poised final. City Harvest FC stand defending champion City Young from the penalty spot, winning 3-2 to take the title home after a goalless full-time draw.
Sporting brings teamwork, brings discipline. Apart from discipline, coordination and peace. Am I communicating? So as we go, let us enhance peace, discipline, coordination, and encourage one another to assist one another as we go ahead.
For the girls who are here, kitchen is no longer our place. When men fly flights for 15 hours, as we can fly those flights for 20 hours. That is from here up to the farthest destination. Come out strongly, girls, and know that men are our head. Yani they are our head, But what they can do, we can do better.
While officiating the tournament, Deputy Inspector General of Police Gilbert Masengeli urged the youth to steer clear of societal vices and instead focus on nurturing their talents and empowering their communities. Humphrey Muchuma, the founder of the tournament, said sports unite the community through fairness and talent development.
Hii michezo sio tu kwa burudani pekee yake, ni burudani ndio, lakini tunataka kuinua vipawa vya vijana, si ndio? Na vile pia umeona wakubwa wamesema tunataka kusaidia vijana waendelee, si ndio? Na tujiepushe na mambo mbaya, si ndio? Na pia tuweze kueleza watu habari ambazo zitasaidia kama jamii, si ndio?
A total of 191 football and volleyball teams competed in the tournament.
And Cameroon will face host Morocco in the quarterfinals of the 2025 Africa Cup of Nations after goals from Junior Chamadu and Christian Kofana gave them a 2-1 win over a South African side led by their former coach Hugo Bruce. The hosts, who beat Tanzania 1-0 earlier on Sunday, now with the indomitable Lions in what looks like a mouth-watering tie back in Rabat on Friday.
Into Albas. A lot of space for Mofokeng. Through to Foster. Flag is down again. Foster's in behind. He can make it 1-0 to South Africa, and he does. And now the flag does blatantly go up. In it comes from Mbumo. Only as far as the edge of the box where Baleba picks it up, looking for the bottom corner. Deflection. This surely will be the first goal of the game, and it is. It goes Cameroon's way. There is Baleba. Forward again. Namaso. Well, he got numbers forward still, Cameroon. In it goes for number 2. We said he was a danger man. One chance, one goal. Christian Kofan. He is a star of the future for Cameroon. Mokoena turned behind by a sprawling Epassi, who did well. He didn't. Cleared away, and Bruno charging forward to pick this up at pace. He needs support. He doesn't have too much of it. At the moment, he's just going himself. Brian and Bruno for Cameroon. Into the middle it goes. Drops for Odim. Williams with the block. And again. Look at the delivery. And South Africa do get one back. With just 2.5 minutes left on the clock. A real melee in there as well.
So the round of 16 comes to a close tomorrow. At the moment, Egypt leading by 2-1. We are in added time on extra time. Yeah, Benin have given Egypt a run for their money. Now, Manchester United have officially announced the sacking of head coach Ruben Amorim. The club confirmed that Amorim has departed his role with immediate effect, ending a tenure that began in November 2024. Despite leading United to the UEFA Europa League final in Bilbao in the past May, the club says its leadership has reluctantly decided that a change is needed, with the team currently sitting 6th on the English Premier League table. United believe the decision gives them the best opportunity to achieve the highest possible league finish this season. In a statement, the club thanked Amorim for his contribution and wished him well in the future. Former Manchester United midfielder Darren Fletcher will take charge of the team on an interim basis, starting with Wednesday's EPL match against Burnley. And in added time of extra time, Mohamed Salah scores for Egypt 3-1 against Benin in the round of 16. And remember that this is going to be coming to a close tomorrow. So it's the Africa Cup Nations. It's into the knockout phase. So after this game, that's coming to a close. Definitely Egypt through to the quarterfinals. It's going to be Nigeria against Mozambique. My name is Daniel Wahome. More coming your way tomorrow evening and all week. Over to Irene.
Thank you, Wahome, for the sports bits. Earlier on, we had the business news and the news making headlines beyond Kenya. I am Muchuma Odim. Our sign language expert tonight is Susan Tuku. Till some other time, God bless you.
Today we find ourselves in a truly historic location. Unique to Pretoria, South Africa's capital city. Welcome to the Women's Living Heritage Monument, the world's first academy dedicated to the history of the fight to women's liberation in South Africa. But first, we embark on a journey from Rwanda to Cape Town, following a fashion designer who has transformed his struggles into a clothing label, Masamara. We take a ride with the underground skateboarding community in Botswana, who hope to smash stigmas about the sport. Then we hop over to Lagos to meet Tola Akerele, an interior designer with